to the Indie Wrestling Guy with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, JHawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, Jay Gold, and the legendary Charly Butters.
So there was a little bit of rain, but I think overall it was a successful Saturday.
Yeah, a lot of people are panicking about the weather report, and it's like it's going to be rain until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like the show's not going to run that long. That's going to be that big a deal.
Right. And
that being said, I don't know if I would have driven down there by myself. I'm glad you were driving, but
yeah, I had the whole crew. It was you, me, Sammy Suntheimer, and Amanda, and it was a good time. And it's nice to have people in the car with me so that it goes by relatively fast. And then we got there, and it was just one thing after another, man. We were running around doing stuff, and time flew by, and all of a sudden it was time for the pre-show match. And then I'm like, Danny had me run some audio for a minute, like audio video stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And then I really liked doing it, and I was like, I want to do it more. So hopefully I'll get to do some of that, hopefully at the next show. And yeah, it was a really good time. Only one scary part with Shelby, of course, but he's doing okay. So
fucking Shelby getting hurt. I felt so bad for Roki. Roki's like, I'm on my way out, and then Shelby comes back. She's like, well, I guess I'm staying a little while.
Yep.
Felt so bad for her, but
yep, because she just came over, like said bye to me, and then like all of a sudden I see her like with a concerned look on her face, run over, grab her bag. I'm like, uh-oh. I was like, oh, she'll be here for a bit. And then,
nothing to panic about. Shelby will be fine. But
yeah, he's fine. It's just some bruised ribs, probably something like that. So he's all right. Ooh.
Yeah, might have to skip a couple weeks just to make sure he doesn't screw anything else up. But it's not like he's going to be out a month like last time.
Right. Yeah. So then we got our promos and stuff filmed for the next couple IW Guide video wires, and we got stuff done. And Gary J showed up and put on a banger with Mikey, and
cannot wait for that match to be available for you guys. It'll go up on the Patreon first, and I'm recommending right now, get on the Patreon and get that early. Get before everybody else.
Yeah, it should be within the next week. It'll probably hit Patreon, and then probably the beginning of March it will hit for everybody in the IW Guide, the first ever IW Guide video wire. So what that's going to consist of is a match, some promos, and then basically telling you about the next show that's going to have an IW Guide sanctioned match on it. So I'm excited to start doing that. Our first video interview went up and did pretty well. So
can we talk about that next IW Guide title match? That is official now.
It is official. Mikey defeated Gary J and will now face Cheeseburger.
Well, the March 14th at the Vortex in Akron.
Yeah.
That is a standing room only show. Go be prepared for that. But
yeah, all tickets are $25. Come watch that match. There's all kinds of stuff. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. Members only is getting a tag title shot on that show.
Ashton Day with the Open Challenge for the Neo Pro Championship.
And there is going to be a dark match on that show. I highly recommend coming and seeing it because the two guys we got for that dark match are definitely going to put on a hell of a show. So and then we were on our way home, and it's foggy as a motherfucker. And I've driven in enough fog going to and from our old job that I knew to just go the speed limit or a little bit under, because you never know who's going to decide to stand in the middle of the road like a deer would, and a deer did. And of course, no problem. I was able to slow down, and he took off into the woods, and we were all good. So,
Bambi lived.
Yeah, there was no real concern. I got us all home safely, so I'm a good driver, I guess, that way. So
I tell you, that sheet hit the spot on the way home. Not gonna lie.
Oh, for sure it did. They fucked up my stuff, but oh well. There was my chicken sandwich had no cheese, and like some just really sloppily thrown on bacon. So I was kind of pissed, but especially when they charge you extra for the cheese.
Yeah, that would kind of piss me off a little bit.
Yeah, but I was like, fuck it. I just threw some like barbecue sauce on it and some cheese from home, and oh my God, it was good. It was good stuff. We didn't make Sammy eat anything weird this time, but
it's going to happen. We need Patreon content.
Yeah, yeah. There'll be a time for it.
Then again, the gaming version of weird would just be our version of food. So,
Right. So we'll just get him something normal and then make him eat it.
I mean, we get him a sandwich, he's gonna be it's gonna be weird to him. So
So we should probably talk about like during you coming out during the pre-show to ref that match and getting like your hater was in the crowd.
yeah, one guy in the crowd going, "Oh, come on!" Like it's gonna come through the curtain. I'm like, "What? I've never worked here. What did I do?"
They know you from somewhere.
It must. And last time I worked that area, I was managing. So it's not even like they're managing me for my ref work. It's been 10 years I put ref down there.
Awful, awful. So how you feeling?
Apparently.
How your knees doing? You were in rough shape on the way home.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of I'm getting old and trying to make sure that like I wasn't just getting down. I wanted to walk. I wanted to walk around. I wanted to watch some of the show. I wanted to make sure I was talking to people. I think just the fact that I was on my feet as much as I was, and I'm getting old and all it was.
Okay.
And once I woke up in the morning, I felt much better.
Good.
I think it was just the fact that I was off my feet at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the end of that show, like I was in a lot of pain and I was limping and still tried to help with tear down at least some, but I wasn't doing anything like heavy or anything.
Shout out to NeoPro too for having all those like little snacky treats in the back. That was really, really great. The crackers and cheese and meats and stuff, that was perfect for like just going over and snacking and like eating a pepper, just like they had full peppers, like which were delicious and just like all that kind of stuff. And then they had vegan chili, which was really good. So shout out to NeoPro for having some nice catering backstage. It hit the spot for what we needed. Got me home to sheets.
Yeah. Not enough indie company do any kind of catering for the boy. So anytime there's anything in the back, it's appreciated. And the fact that it was just cracker and veggie and grapes and things like that is just really light stuff, but you can eat a little bit, not worry about it getting heavy on your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And they're perfectly done. Like I cannot praise that enough.
Yeah.
Although Shelby and I got in an argument over whether you should actually eat the full pepper or not. That was like
I ate a full pepper. He didn't see me eat the full pepper, but I ate a full pepper too. So I mean, we're country boys, JHawk. That's just how we do it down here.
Yeah. And before anybody starts really questioning it, we're not talking like the big round pepper. They're a little skinnier.
No, it was like a yeah, you know.
You
like
probably think they were hot pepper if you look at it. They were that kind of shape, but they were just
right. They were like
pepper.
this. They were like the size of a hot dog. Like, and you eat it the long way. It's you eat to the end and then you throw away the part with the seeds on it. It's fine.
That sounds like a movie that I would watch. Anyway.
Oh Jesus, you and your movies. Here's bad as Jay Gold, who isn't here this week because he has what's going around, one of the 4 quad whatever that's going around this week. You can tell I'm stuffy because I got a sinus cold over the weekend and I'm on the other side of it now, thank God. Today I woke up and I felt pretty good, but I'm still kind of stuffy. But I've had the norovirus and I've had this head cold now. There's a sinus cold. Jay Gold is in the middle of his sinus cold, and which he's said he's had twice now. So he's down and out with some type of flu. So he's not here this week.
My wife had one of them last week. My kid had a cough for a few days. My dog got in the garbage and got herself sick the other day. Good. I'm the only one that hasn't gotten anything major, and even then, I have a cough this time of year anyway.
You better knock on wood right now. You better knock on wood right now, brother.
You probably hear that knocking actually with my desk. Good wood.
All right, so let's get into shout outs. Shout out to Andrew and Zach, and of course, the one, the only Patty, who messaged all of us this week to see how we were doing.
Hey, Patty.
So thank you, Patty. You've been chatting with us all week and everything like that. So, all right. Anything else before we get into what's on? Did I forget anything?
Yeah, actually, we were talking about something before we went on the air that you're trying to get cut up. Referee PPR.
Oh yeah, so we should talk about this. Okay, so talking with Patty and talking with Jeremy, the EVP of Health for AIW, they are trying to set up a day where we can get all the referees from the Northeast Ohio area to a location. We've picked Akron as a location, and we want to do a CPR, AEP, and first aid class free of charge for everybody so that all the referees in the area have some first aid training in case something goes wrong in a match or backstage. And referees are, you guys are all over the place. So we would like to have all of you come and do this. So if you do want to do this, get a hold of JHawk, get a hold of me. We'll get you the information. I'm going to try to put a flyer together to promote it. Once we get some more names signed up for it, and we know that this is for sure going to happen on a certain date, and then we're gonna try to do it on like a Sunday, get everybody together and do it. That way, everybody's got some medical training. We talked about this like 2-3 years ago with Rosie when she was on. I know she was trying to do it at one point, but with how things went and how things go, she kind of just dropped off with it. With her getting hurt, that kind of took her out of doing that. So hopefully we can get this together and get this done this year, and then try to do this, and if we get enough people and it does well, we're going to try to do like a full-on certified CPR class as well. Jeremy told me. So if you are interested, please contact us. Let's get this set up. All referees, backstage personnel, you're all invited to do this. Please hit us up. We'd love to have you take this class and everything like that, so that we have personnel that can help the wrestlers if something happens, God forbid, in a match or backstage.
Yeah, and please, when you get hold of us, let us know if you do have any kind of regular Sunday booking, and if you have date already scheduled for those, but we can try to work around those. We want to try to get everybody involved with it.
Right.
We want to try to make it a day that's going to work for as many people as possible.
Right.
So if you have a regular Sunday show or you have Sunday bookings that you know of, let us know then as well, so we can try to work around it for you.
Awesome.
I know Power
right.
Slam's running, I think, every other Sunday. I got to check with them to see exactly what their weeks are. But
okay. So yeah, that's something we're trying to work on, and it's just another thing with the wrestling community that I think is very important. That I will take the time to do, because it's very important. I feel like you never know when something's going to happen and go sideways, and you're going to need medical personnel there to at least somebody that knows a little something to keep somebody alive until an ambulance can get there, whatever. So it's very important, I feel like.
What's on this weekend?
Okay. Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, February 22nd, the International Wrestling Cartel returns with IWC Civil War live on Triller TV+. IWC Heavyweight Champion Bill Collier defending against a mystery opponent of Jock Hansen's choosing. In a WWE ID Showcase match, the Super Indie Champion Cam Holloway taking on Sean Legacy. Mila Morgan, Holly Dead for the IWC Women's Championship. Jamie Jamison versus Mandime Elijah Dean for control of the reset button. Spencer Slade against Weapon X Matt Mikowski. And 2 Civil War elimination matches featuring Team Plumber versus Team Jock. That is Saturday at 7 on Triller.
Well, I can't wait to hear how those go. They sound great on paper. They always sound great on paper. The execution always leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, on paper, it's a very good lineup. I'm interested to see who's going to be in those elimination matches as well. They are keeping those names a surprise. So.
The IWTV side of things, New Texas Pro Wrestling, our homies down in Texas, with Bulls on Parade Sunday, February 23rd. Looks like they are rocking at 6 p.m., which is, I think, Central.
Yes, I believe you're correct.
Yeah, so they got the New Texas Pro Championship, Carter Black versus Adam Priest. New Texas Pro Women's Championship, Zeta Steele against Charity King. Violence is Forever against Brick Savage and Dmitry Alexandrov. Lone Star Championship, Izzy James against Exodus Prime. The New Texas Pro Tag Team Championships, the Dream Team versus Natalie Sykes and Ollie Summers. Plus, Shimbashi's on the card versus Timur the Great. So good for him, seeing that he's traveling, and we've seen him at AIW a couple times, and he's also been at Unsanctioned Pro up here in Ohio. So it's cool to see him down there. Lots of good stuff on there, and that's on Sunday.
Interviewing.
All right. This week, we are joined by a 10-year veteran of the business.
No. Y'all are going to make me sound like I'm way better than I am.
The Midnight Mermaid, Aspyn Rose.
Hi, that's me.
So, well, no, you've been wrestling for like 10 years. Now, you haven't done a ton of wrestling in those 10 years, but you've been wrestling for like 10 years.
The easiest way I explain it is that I've been in the business for 10 years because
Okay.
like my first 3 to 4 years, I was basically like a valet.
Okay.
I would closer to the end is when like I started wrestling more and then like fully made the transition. So I only say like full time like wrestling has only been like 7 years, give or
Okay.
take.
So in those 10 years though, how many men have you led to their death being a mermaid?
A lot.
A lot?
Quite a lot, especially more recently. And it's funny you kind of like asked that because our buddy old pal Sid Von England was messaging me earlier. One dude keeps thinking he's gonna fight me, but I don't know. I don't know if that's
You
gonna
can
happen.
whoop his ass so easily.
I can. Like
he's got bad kidneys now, so you just gotta give him a couple kidney shots.
He needs
and
to
he's
like
done.
take some time, unless he just wants me to like take him out for good.
I mean, you're going to retire 4 times before it happened anyway.
Oh shit!
We were talking earlier, and we were talking a little bit about like intergender wrestling and how there's still how some of us are still finding places that are kind of like weird about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, dude, since like at least 2019, probably majority of my matches have been more against dudes than they've been against girls at this point. So it's just like I'm there to wrestle a match. I don't care what the match is. But I should start keeping like a checklist. Like how Danny Jordan had like her burn book.
Yes.
Mine'll just be like the simp book, and it'll be every dude that has succumbed to being a simp.
That works. That's a whole thing. So speaking of like intergender matches, the one thing that I always told you I wanted to talk to you about if we ever had you on was you taking the skewers in that no ring show and then getting super kicked in the face. Like the image of you having them in your head and like the shocked look on your face was like that's cinema to me, like in like a weird deathmatch way, because it was like straight out of a horror movie. Like that's something you would see in a horror movie. Like what just happened to me, and then you get kicked in the face. So that wasn't a Florida show, right? That was I'm trying to.
It was for No Peace Underground in Orlando.
Yeah. And that was just a wild time. That was when there was a lot of like not full wrestling shows happening, and it was like, or maybe we were just back to it.
It was like in between. But the way No Peace was for a while when I was doing the shows, and what I always kind of like appreciated about them is they would try to get in people that weren't just like wrestling fans or just deathmatch wrestling fans. And so they would run at like a little club or a bar in Orlando, and they would like stack it with something else. So there would be some sort of like concert or something earlier at the venue, and then right after would be the show.
Okay.
And they would only do like originally they were only doing at most like 4 matches.
Right on.
So it was just like something to sit there and watch and have a good time, and not really like have to sit there for like a 3 to 4 hour show and have to have like all this stuff going on and waiting and all that thing.
Shows like that are so much fun too, but you've got that audience that they just want to have fun. They're not going to analyze every move you're making. They're not going to analyze, oh, that looks stupid, that looks fake, that looks pre-fake. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They're just there
fake.
to have fun and see the stupidity that we're going to do, and that's basically it.
Yeah, when you add all the light tubes and craziness into it, then it's just like one of those like it's almost like a circus act at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about before we move on to other stuff is why is Ricochet's spirit gun better than your spirit gun?
It's not. For one. It is not, because I have had it first.
You did say that. You did say that. So, but there's a controversy now.
I have had the spirit gun since I started wrestling. There was a short period in time when I called it something else. But I have been doing the spirit gun for I don't even know how long at this point. And it's really funny because Kentucky Trevor, I have known since before I started wrestling. And so he has seen all my stuff. So I'm like, hey, man.
So what you need to do is the next time you're on a show, you need to hit his version of it and then look in the camera and be like, "Fuck you, Trevor," and just let him know. That's.
I should. That is definitely a good plan.
I think that's the move. Yeah,
I'll do it to Sid, and then he'll be out for good.
Yeah. So you just debuted at Unsanctioned.
Yes.
This weekend. How was that?
It was a whole lot of fun, and adding to the how I should have a book of Sims at this point, it just seemed like everybody wanted to hit on me in that match, and I don't think it worked very well for any of them. Sam Beale got smacked in the face. His little young boys, Martian Webb, we just beat him up for a while because he thought he could come in and smooth talk the girls, and it didn't work. And then Morgan Taylor tried to act like he had better hair than me.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and as soon as all I have to do is bust it out. It's like the puppy dog eyes that kids give to their parents. Like, I just have to bust it out for 2 seconds, and he was like, okay. And then I am responsible for eliminating him the fastest. And as far as I'm aware, I am responsible for the quickest elimination in the unsanctioned Rumble history. So,
there you go. You're making history. So I went to my first unsanctioned show. I want to say it was the end of last year. Yeah, okay. It was the end of last year because I had to have Derek hand over the IW Guide belt at that show. But I saw you sitting up in the thing watching, and I was like 90% sure it was you, but I was like, I don't want to be a weirdo and be like, hey, like we talk all the time.
It's wrestling, so I'm kind of used to it at this point, so it's a plus. I had people that had just seen me wrestle for the first time at the show this weekend that came into my stream yesterday. They're like, "Oh my God, we just saw you wrestle and you were great." I was like, "Oh,
how many people?
I'm doing it, guys."
How many people are confused because you've had like the name online of Taco Michinoku for like so long that people don't even realize that that's not even like your wrestling name.
It's weird. Like, luckily, fans, for the most part, understand that is not my name. And when I was getting booked for Unsanctioned and getting all my info and stuff to Derek, I was like, oh, by the way, not that you said anything, but thank you for not assuming that Taco Michinoku is my actual wrestling name. And he was like, wait, people do that? And I was like, yes. Most of the time, the current theme of the people that seem to think that this is my name is other podcast people or like random like bookings that don't involve me actually wrestling on a show. So like signings or anything like that. Or like the random like Twitter fan pages where they're just gonna be like, hey, here's this hot person and here's a photo of them. And they all think my name's Taco Michinoku. I do have a funny story from a handful of years ago when I first started using the nickname. And I didn't even come up with the nickname. A fan tweeted it to me once because I was talking about my love of Taka. And I think it was like 2019, just before Mania that year. And I was like, I'm taking it. I am letting you know right now that I'm stealing it. And that is my thing. I guess it works well enough because I think within that year or so, Cheeseburger had gone and done New Japan. A fan asked him if I was actually related to Taka. And I was like, you know what? If Japanese fans are thinking that I'm somehow related to this man for real or for not, I'm taking it.
That's amazing. I love it. JHawk, go ahead. You can ask some stuff now.
I get once in a while. I'll go to a show just act a fan when I don't have a booking. I'll be in the crowd and somebody will recognize me from a show I did 10 years ago. And like, that company doesn't even exist anymore. Like, what are you bringing that up for?
It's crazy what people could remember like that. And for me, I always find it even cooler when people recognize me if it's not somewhat recent, because I've like changed my hair 50,000 times. And I'm like, man, you saw me when I had blue hair and that was forever ago. Or you saw me when I had gray hair. And it's crazy that people can even just see us once and like we stick out enough to them for them to remember us that far down the line.
Okay. You did mention streaming earlier, something I dabble in. I'm still very basic. I'm streaming directly through the console. I got to get all fun, that capture card and all that happy fun crap. I can actually do professional looking shit. But I know you do a lot of JRPG. What are you playing right now?
I am currently going back and forth between the Trails series and the Tales series, which is very confusing for a lot of people. The Tales of series is by Bandai Namco. 90% of their games are not intertwined, so they're more similar to like a Final Fantasy, where they might have some reoccurring traits and things like that, but nothing like story-wise really connects. I think except for two of the games are actually connected, but like years and years apart. Trails is my favorite game series of all time. I was actually playing the new one before I hopped on here with y'all. I have been playing them in order on my stream. We are on Cold Steel 2, which is every time I think about this, I have to count it on my hand because it's ridiculous. So there's the first story, which is 3, and then the next one there's 2, and then there's Cold Steel, there's 4 of those. And then there's the in-between game, and now the one that just came out, that's 2 more. So there's 12 games total. We're only on like number 5, like 5 or 6. We're only halfway through. I started playing them in order on stream, like basically once I started streaming, like 2.5 years ago. And it's taking me 2.5 years just to get through like 6 games, and there's still 6 games ahead of me. But I play them when they release on my own personal time, but I just don't want to like confuse people. But they're my favorite. As you might be able to see, I have a whole shelf literally behind me of figures in the game and everything like that. It is my absolute favorite, and I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I've popped into a couple streams and just like tried to understand what was going on, and I'm just
It's a
like,
lot.
okay, it is, and I'm just like, oh, this is fun, and I'll watch it for a little bit, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go on TikTok now.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, it is interesting. Like, I think I was in there for like an hour the one day. It was very interesting what was going on. It was like all these people met on one ship, and
Yep.
it was like I thought it was going to be like a big battle, and then they all just left. They all talked shit, and then they all left. I'm like, well, what is that? So yeah, it was good stuff.
Thank you.
Like one of those battles with skin in Final Fantasy X, where you think everybody's gonna die. Like everybody actually lived, but
It's one of those like, hey, we're gonna let you know that this is happening, but it's not gonna happen yet.
yeah, there will be a fight at some point. 25, 30-hour game time down the road. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. All right. Now I'm assuming you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series. What's your favorite Final Fantasy game?
Oh man, I am partial to Final Fantasy 13. I know that's a controversial take because a lot of people did not seem to like that game. But that was when I got into Final Fantasy, because up until that point, the only relative thing that I had was Kingdom Hearts. And I just knew that Final Fantasy characters were in it, but I didn't really get any of them. And when 13 was coming out, I was like, okay, like I know of the name from Kingdom Hearts, but oh my God, there's a girl and she has pink hair. She looks really cool and she could beat up people. Like I was instantly sold. So that one always has a special place in my heart, but I really have been enjoying the 7 remakes that they've been doing. They've been really fun.
Yeah, that last boss fight in the most recent in Rebirth, I lost track of how many hours I spent trying to beat that thing. I got done like I need one more hit, and that big thing that killed me. I'm like, I think I played that like 8 hours straight. I knew that was the last battle, and I knew nothing had saved for like hours. And I finally just paused it and shut the TV off and went to bed.
Yeah, that's smart.
I eventually, and when I finally beat it, my stream died in the middle of the battle, and I didn't know it. I don't even have video proof that I beat the damn thing.
Well, now we can all just call you a big liar because you have no proof.
Exactly. That was my first thought when I finally beat it. Like, no one's beating it. I'm going to be like, when are you going to beat that damn thing? I'm not playing it again.
I'm not doing all that again. Yeah, that's fair.
Not anytime soon. Yeah. Now, you see, a controversial one, I won't say it's my favorite, but like I would go partial to 9 because that was the first one I played.
Yeah.
And that's one that a lot of people really hate too. For some reason.
That's one I haven't touched yet. But I'm kind of on like a wait and see moment because they keep talking on how there's supposedly going to be a remake for it. And I keep saying that, knowing my luck, if I go to start playing the original, they're going to be like, surprise, the remake is coming in 6 months or in a year. And I'll feel bad that I started it. So I kind of just keep holding out to see if that's actually going to be a thing that happens or not.
If you were to start it now, you'd probably be okay because they won't start making that one until they get the last Final Fantasy VII remake done.
Yeah,
At least
that's
I
fair.
wouldn't think so.
Unless they've secretly been working on it, like because Square Enix, I feel like compared to a lot of the other developers and stuff like that, most of the time they're a lot like quieter on game front until it's like a lot closer.
Okay. All right. Now, I did also notice going through your Twitter that you are a anime figure collector,
Yes.
and obviously you've got your figure from your game back there as well. But do you have a favorite figure or favorite series of figure?
I mean, I have a couple top ones. My it's hard because they're all so different because I am into a lot of different video games and shows and manga and things like that. I have one quarter scale, which is like the bigger giant ones, and it's of an old 80s anime called Creamy Mommy, which is such a weird name. I don't know why that's the name of it because it's basically like Hannah Montana. There's a little girl, but instead of like having a different persona, she has like a magical like wand that turns her into an older pop star, but nobody knows that it's her. So I have a big figure of her, and that one's one of my favorites just because since it's like an older anime, it doesn't really get a lot of newer stuff. But I still have some coming. There's always new ones coming at this point. My Trails collection is probably like my pride and joy just because I have so much of them. And I already have two more on pre-order, so I am fully prepared. But I like usually if Max Factory or Hobby Max makes something, those are two of like the manufacturers that I really look out for. Their stuff always looks really nice, and I have quite a few from them.
What's your favorite anime series?
My favorite anime figure? Series. Oh, God.
Yeah, putting you on the spot here, I know.
This is like asking me to pick my favorite child, even though I don't have any children.
Throw a few in there then. I won't hold you to one.
Well, I mean, since we talked about my spirit gun earlier, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorites. It's one of the original ones that I started watching. Hamtaro has a special place in my heart because I watched that when I was little before I really even knew what anime was. I really like Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is another good one. Wotakoi, which is more of like a chill office-y like adult anime where it's just like, hey, these are some like early 20s people working in an office and they also happen to be nerds. And so it's more like real life kind of stuff. And then more recently, at least that I've been watching Dan. That's like the new rage all the days. All at current. I have been collecting the manga anyways, and Dan is really good. And I've also been watching. I'm a sucker for little romancy anime, so I've been watching one called Blue Box, and they're both on Netflix, which is quite nice.
Now, are you a dubbed anime or a subbed anime person?
It depends on the anime. I am not partial to one or the other. Sometimes it depends on when I like start watching it, like my mood, or if I'm doing something when I'm starting watching it, because then sometimes I'll start it in English just so that I don't have to sit here and be reading everything and I can like kind of keep it on the background while I'm doing something. But most of the time it kind of just goes off of feeling. I have noticed that if it's an anime where I've been reading the manga already, that 9 times out of 10, I end up liking the subbed versions better just because in my head, the way my brain works out these things, if I've been reading it and then go to watch it in English, the English voices don't always match up with what my brain is thinking they should sound like. So then that throws me off. It honestly just depends on the show. I will say I have not gotten into My Hero, and that is one because that type of anime is not my thing. Maybe that's why Ricochet stole the name of my move, because I don't like My Hero Academia, which he knows this. So maybe that's why. But I tried watching it, and I tried watching in English too, and I think Deku sounds weird, and I don't like it, and I could not get into it. So yeah, it's one of those where it just kind of depends on how I'm feeling.
In my first exposure to My Hero Academia with a little short abridged version, and I'm like really upset that those weren't canon because those are much better than the actual series, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a lot of the bigger ones, especially like the superhero-y ones, they've just never like caught my eye. I also haven't watched Attack on Titan. People might kill me for that too, but it's fine. I've watched Naruto,
tried.
so
I've
there's
tried
that.
watching a handful, and I don't like. I don't say I don't like anime. I just don't prefer to watch it. I
That's
do
fair.
like. I did watch like the One Piece series from Netflix. I loved that, like the live action,
Hmm.
and I will watch whenever they drop the next set of that. I really enjoyed it. I tried to watch the anime after that, like just to kind of see if I could get into it, and it
Oh,
just
that's a rabbit hole you don't want to get down is watching the anime of One Piece. There's like 1,000
that's what
episodes.
I heard, and I was like, well, that's
I have not watched that, and that is solely because of how many episodes there are. I just cannot do it.
Yeah,
I,
I did the math. If you watch even one episode a day, it can take you like 4 years to get through it. So it's not.
Yeah,
and
no
that works
thanks.
for me. That would be great because I like to have something that like I can just throw on and just leave on for whatever period of time and not have to worry about anything. But like I just I don't like the style. I couldn't
That's
get
fair.
into it. There's like yelling and it's like sometimes the yelling is just super annoying. It's like I don't have kids because I don't want to listen to yelling and
Yeah.
then they're yelling in the show just like I would try to watch a version of like Dragon Ball Z, like I think it was the abridged version, but still there was like episodes where there was just screaming for 30 minutes and then it was like the fight still didn't even happen yet. And it's
Well,
like,
yeah,
I
it's
can't do
Dragon Ball.
this.
They've been fighting for like 30 years at this point and nothing's happened. So,
Yeah, I was just like, I can't do this. I can't listen to people scream for 30 minutes and then that doesn't excite me. That doesn't keep me interested.
yeah, that's totally understandable. If you need something more chill, like a Cowboy Bebop or something,
Probably.
which is just a quick one season. There's only like 10 to 13 episodes. And also most of the episodes like are their own story in a way besides like the base of the same characters. And it's a lot more chill. And it's all like adults just doing adult things in the
I
future.
watched
And
the
it's
Cyberpunk one that they had on Netflix because I play the Cyberpunk game, and I enjoyed that because I played the game, so I had a frame of reference for like all the
right.
stuff they talked about. So I'm like, this isn't bad. But like I've tried to watch. I think the first thing I ever watched was like Zombie High School or something,
Oh
and
God.
I watched like 5 episodes. It was like I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah, if I feel like if your first intro to anime is anything with high school in the name, it's probably not gonna pull you in because they're usually very over the top for no reason at all.
I just appreciate that some of the manga and the anime series will just tell you exactly what the plot is right in the title. I'm marrying a girl in high school that I hate. I love
They are very known for having a title that is like 30 words long for no reason at all.
Okay, one more question from me, and I'll hand over the butters. I know you're also a big fan of energy drink. What are your energy drink of choice?
My energy drink of choice is always an Alani. Any of the flavors, I'm partial to Dream Float. That one's my favorite, but Alani has been it ever since I found Alani, but I also love Zero Sugar Monsters or Ghosts or Reigns. I don't like Red Bull. I don't like Bang. Bang has a weird aftertaste, and I will not hear otherwise. But yeah, Alani is it, and I will vouch for Alani until the day that I die. If I could get Alani sponsorship, that would be a dream come true.
I've never heard of those, so I will have to look and try them.
They are fantastic. They're in like slim cans like a Red Bull, so you also don't feel like you're
I like that because that's usually if I do. I used to drink Monster. I cut out like all caffeine when like I found out like I had like a lot of blood pressure issues. So I was like, all right, cutting out a lot of that. So on the rare occasion that I need something, it's usually like a blueberry Red Bull or like I got to try the new vanilla one that they have out from Red Bull that's really good. So I like the small cans. So
yeah, Alani has the small cans. They are great.
Cool. Okay, so now my fun questions that I get to ask everybody. What's the worst ring name you've ever heard?
The worst ring name I've ever heard. Oh,
bury somebody on the show today.
I feel like I saw a ridiculous one months and months ago at this point, and I feel like I texted one of my friends about it, so I need to see if I can find it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Okay, while you're looking that up,
phone, she's looking that up.
So while you're doing that, I will tell you why I have this as one of my questions. So
okay.
Kevin Steen used to do the Kevin Steen show.
Yes.
And one of his questions was always like, what's the worst ring name you've ever heard? Because the worst ring name he ever heard was a wrestler up in Canada called Little Asshole.
Oh,
and it was the most like, why would you name yourself that? Like, why is that a thing? And so I just always I think I like to hear like some of the crazy names people have like come across that.
yeah. I there it's not a bad name because it's a very clever name that I have heard recently,
Okay.
and it's the one thing that's popping in my head at least right now. So a really cool wrestling name. I think he's like a Northeast slash like DMV wrestler guy because I think he's been on like the Flying V shows, and his name is Filipino Grigio.
Okay.
Like Pinot Grigio wine.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, that is genius. I'm obsessed with it. As soon as I saw it, I was obsessed with it. I hate that I can't find this name. And now watch, like tomorrow, I'm going to somehow remember it in the middle for no reason at all. I'm going to remember it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And I'm not able to find it, which hurts my heart. I can't.
Yeah, when I was getting started 20 years ago, the promoter had a thing for whatever reason of having names that sounded like Special Innuendo on the guys that are just coming out of training.
Oh no.
So we had Buster Cherry, Mike Hercom, and Phil the Crevice.
Oh.
They were a trio.
I'm gonna
of course
stick
they
with,
were a trio.
Some guy named John is still having the worst name. The worst wrestling
We
name.
like John.
I do too, but it's still like the worst but cleverest name.
I mean, if we want to talk about bad wrestling names, I mean, mine is kind of basic. Everybody finds out Rose is my last name in wrestling, and they're like, wow, how original. And then I hit them with it's my dead grandma's name, and then they shut up. So I just pull that out when I have to.
That's actually an eerie coincidence that I also have a dead grandma named Rose.
Let's go.
So, well, what could you do, like, though, like if you were like just Aspyn the Mermaid, like would you have to come out with like an elaborate like mermaid tail deal?
I have done
like,
that before.
I just don't understand what people would expect.
Like big internet pay-per-view that I did like back in Florida in like 2016, 2017. I was like, I have to have a special entrance. This is my internet pay-per-view debut. And so I fully had like a mermaid skirt that had like the full tail on the back of it. But all of my gear, regardless of what anime or video game or whatever that it's based off of, it always has mermaid scales on it. So it is always there.
Right on. Let's see. Do you have like a specific pre-show ritual that you do before you wrestle?
I don't. This is I have thought about this because I think I've seen like other people have theirs. Most of the time it's just me pacing back and forth. And or at least making sure that I ate something, because it's usually the last like 20 minutes before I'm about to wrestle is when all of a sudden my body's like, hey, you need to eat. And I'm like, you couldn't tell me this earlier. So I'll at least try to eat something if I haven't eaten anything. But most of the time, I usually feel okay. I think I get more nervous once I'm out there than I do going out there.
Okay. Yeah, the pacing thing is a very common thing. I see it a lot now backstage. Let's see. What is the weirdest place that you've wrestled?
Oh, I have a couple. But probably the top one. I have wrestled at the Sausage Castle in Florida.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that place.
We heard about this?
I have not. I need detail.
There's some internet famous guy named Mike Busey. I don't know what he's famous for, but I guess he essentially is trying to make like his own small version of like the Playboy Bunny house. And so he has like this giant compound in Florida in the middle of nowhere that like you pull up and there's two like security dudes with guns like sitting at the gate. And I did not know what I was getting into when I took this booking. I took the booking because another Florida wrestler asked me if I was available because they were going to be doing somewhat of a tribute for my teammate Rex Backus, who had passed away earlier in the month. And so obviously I said yes, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. And it was basically just like a giant piece of land. There was houses. There was a giant warehouse where the wrestling ring was. And there was just like probably half naked people all over the place. It was a time. I don't know As far as I'm aware, I think they still run wrestling there every now and then. But yeah, it was literally called Sausage Castle Wrestling because his compound was called the Sausage Castle.
I heard about it years ago, but I haven't heard of it in the last couple of years. Like, I knew it was a thing a while ago before COVID. Yeah.
In said funky warehouse on Sausage Castle property, I wrestled Janai Kai, and she had only been wrestling for I'm pretty sure like less than a year at this point. But that is the first time I wrestled Janai Kai. Is in the middle of nowhere in Florida. I don't even know if the match will ever see the light of day unless some video person posted it somewhere, and I have no idea. But that is definitely a place, and I feel like if anybody listening knows what I'm talking about, they will completely understand why that is definitely a place. I've wrestled in a warehouse where right next door, and their front doors were like the double doors with like the glass in the middle so you could fully see through it. And they were having a Spanish church service go on right next door. And because it was right outside where our show was, we were all just walking by constantly. And so they're fully having a church service while all these half-naked people are walking by their door that they can see. I've wrestled in a roller skating rink. Let me see. There has to be some other funky things.
What was it set up where like the ring was where the roller skating was supposed to be, or was there like a ring set up elsewhere and there was roller skating going on as well?
Oh no, the ring was fully on the rink.
Okay.
There was not skating going on at the time.
Okay.
But it was fully on the rink. I've wrestled in a mall a handful of times. One of them, at least one specific show that was at said mall. It's funny because where they set up everything was essentially in the middle of like the open area of the mall, which was right by like the food court, and they'll randomly have like those little kiosks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so you can fully see like a fully functioning Starbucks in the hard cam shot. And also you can fully see that just behind where our like where Gorilla and everybody was hanging out backstage was one of those like strap-in bouncing gimmicks. And so people would be watching the show, and then all of a sudden you would just see like somebody bouncing up over the curtain in the back because they were still doing it while the show was going on.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love indie wrestling for stuff like that. That's the best. I think that may be like the question is weirdest / coolest. Mm-hmm. So like I think you hit like several of the coolest places to possibly
all of the above.
Yeah, I've done movie theater where like the ring was like right in front of the screen. Yeah, I've done that. Ironically enough, Fall Count Anywhere match going into the concession stand, somebody going through the popcorn maker.
That's fair. It's a requirement. If that's there, you have to do it.
It's like the whole Spring Break Nitro. Like somebody had to get thrown into the pool.
Yep.
Okay, so you've lived in several different areas, so you might have a very interesting answer to this.
Okay.
Post show, you got Waffle House, Sheetz, or Wawa. Where are you going?
Sheetz.
Sheetz?
Sheetz all the way.
Sheetz wins every time, man. I'm telling you.
And people think I'm crazy for saying that because I'm originally from Florida, and Florida has Wawa. And even when I was living in Florida, the answer would still be Sheetz. Even though Sheetz wasn't a readily available option to me, it would still be Sheetz. Wawa's great. I think they're kind of basic and bland. It kind of tastes like when white people don't know how to season their food. That's what Wawa gives off to me. Their sandwiches aren't bad, but like you can kind of get a sandwich anywhere. The only thing I really ever enjoyed at Wawa was like their iced coffee. That was nice. I used to love Waffle House when I was younger, but I feel like as I got older, I just kind of didn't care anymore. And I can't recall the last time I even went to a Waffle House. That's how long it's been.
Yeah, it's been
literally leaving,
2-3 years for me.
Even backwards, heading to Sheetz or heading to Unsanctioned on Saturday. Me and Ron Bass Jr. stopped at Sheetz on the way. We did it backwards.
Well, Gary J talked about like anytime he gets to see a Sheetz, like he'll hit as many as he can. Like he said, the one weekend many years ago, he said he thinks he did it in a weekend. He was there 5 or 6 times over the course of a weekend because he loves Sheetz, and like they don't have them down in St. Louis. So now Buc-ee's is just a whole nother world, and like I would choose Buc-ee's over everything because they have burritos and brisket sandwiches, and those are like 2 of my favorite things like that just Sheets can't deliver on those. Like Sheets has a lot of good stuff, but the burritos there at Bucky's and the brisket is just out of this world.
That's fair. I feel like at least for me, Bucky's usually isn't in like that's where I want to go after the show because 9 times out of 10 I will probably be hungry, and eating a bunch of barbecue after I just wrestled just does not sound like something I want to do. Like that is a very filling meal, and that is I just wrestled. I'm tired. I just want something nice and easy, or a little bit of everything, and Sheets can give me a little bit of everything.
Right.
Where since I'm in Ohio now, and supposedly, according if the internet rumors are correct, they keep talking about how we're going to get a Wawa. And then so I will literally have Bucky's, Wawa, Sheets, and QT, because QT was the thing that I had down in the South, and it was really weird when I moved up here and they were still here. I was like fully used to them just being like a Southern thing, especially in Georgia when I was wrestling up there a lot, and they're up here. And QT has half decent pizza if you ever want some pizza. And then we also have Casey's. So I'm like, I don't know how I got lucky, and Ohio literally has everything, but it does.
I think it's just right down in that area because like we don't have Bucky's up my way. We're up in the northeastern portion, and we don't have like my first time ever was when I went to Dallas to visit my friend, and he's like, we stopped on the way from the airport. We stopped there, and then we stopped like twice while I was down there because like I had to keep going and checking out all the different stuff. But
yeah, like when I say that it's here, it's not like right by my house or anything like that. I think there's one heading towards Cincinnati or somewhere down there, I think. But they're building one in Huber Heights, which is like outside of Dayton. Okay. It's kind of like essentially in the middle of going between like Tahir and Columbus. So yeah, and then they're talking about Wawa, and then Cincinnati / Louisville is supposed to be getting a Publix, which is a Florida grocery store. That is the one thing that I miss about Florida is I've heard Publix. Good things
about Publix, that their sandwiches and stuff are really
sandwiches
good.
Are so much better than any other sandwich place. Their fried chicken is amazing. Their sweet tea is amazing. And supposedly Kentucky area is getting them right by Cincinnati border. Ooh. And I will fully make an hour drive to go to Publix.
I saw a video. This guy was like, they had him blindfolded and he was tasting like all the different types of chicken. And I saw Church's chicken for the first time. And now I need to try Church's chicken because it looked so delicious. I just had Popeyes today for like maybe the second time ever. And it was actually really, really good because it wasn't dry and gross like the first time I had it. So like I need to try, but Publix was on there too. I think they had their fried chicken, and then Church's chicken looked really good. Like it looked really crispy and juicy. And I'm just like, I need to try these because I love chicken. Chicken's my favorite food in the world.
Yeah. Publix,
next to Mexican food.
Publix is just it. That is, like I said, that is the one thing that I missed about Florida. And granted, Publix was like on the higher end when it came to grocery stores, but I don't care. That's because all of their actual brand stuff is all stuff that they make. And most of the time they like do it in the store, or like being in Florida, all the headquarters were in Florida. And so it's just Publix is top tier. And the fact that there might be one within an hour from me,
that's very exciting. Like if there was a Bucky's within an hour of me, which there could be, I haven't looked, but if there is, I'm going to go because you've given me inspiration. But at Publix, I've heard like there's certain sandwiches like people talk about that are like out of this world if you have them do it a certain way. Yep. My buddy Dalton used to tell me about them all the time, and I'm like, if I ever go down that way. And then my last question, I'm sure you have probably countless stories of this too. What is your craziest fan interaction?
Oh God, it's funny you asked this because I think I talked about this like 2 days ago on my stream. I've had a couple different instances of people being a little weird. Back in Florida, there was a fan that I think used to come to the weekly shows that I would do down there. There was 2 separate instances of him practically doxing me on the internet if somebody wanted to pay attention to my replies. I innocently tweeted one day that I was in the mood for some garlic bread, and this man decided to go on Google and search Italian places near insert county here, and it was the county next to where I lived, and just fully posted it. And so I had to be like, hey, maybe you could not do that. And then maybe a couple months later, I was having some issues with management at my old job. And it wasn't even with like my specific location or anything like that. We had just lost like our district manager, and so they were essentially having like other district managers like temporarily take over until they got a new one. And one of the district managers from the other side of Florida had come into my job and saw that I had bright yellow hair and tried to get me in trouble, and was telling me that I was like, if I wanted, essentially either telling me I had to like dye my hair or wear a wig every day to work. But my manager and my actual manager, nobody else was giving me an issue. But I like tweeted like essentially how my job was giving me a hard time. And this man, again, went on Google and put, what is the hair policy at insert name of job here? And then posted it. Yeah.
That's
so
white knighting in the worst way possible. You gotta love it.
And I was like, how does this man even know where I work? Like that's the thing. Is nobody
really
knew. Like
concerning.
people did. They knew that I had a job that involved me taking care of animals, and that was literally all they knew. And I don't know how this guy knew where I worked. And then there was another instance of a different fan who one day I'm going through my Instagram DM requests because every once in a while a booking or like a good message will slip through the cracks and it'll be in there. So I try to check it regularly. And somebody messaged me and said, how is it working at insert name of job here? And I was like, how do you know where I work? And he was like, oh, I've been in there and I've seen you. And I was like, maybe if you're trying to be like innocently nice here and you just don't know what you're doing, at least don't come into my DMs like that and immediately telling me you know where I work. It could have just been, hey, I saw you at this place and I didn't want to bother you while you were working or while you were busy, blah, 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 blah. But no, he immediately asked me, how is it like working at this place, even though I had no idea who this man was?
That's...
Yeah. I have, that has been a little funky. Anything else?
I'm just going to say that I am very happy that I am not an attractive woman in the wrestling business. Like, I would not be able to handle this shit.
There's no way. Like, there's just... I see now why, like, certain wrestling women will just, like, post guys, like, them getting DM'd by certain guys, like, showing stuff off, and we'll post them and put them on blast or send it to their mothers, which I think is the best thing that you could possibly do.
Yeah, I am all for that. I do that all day long.
I've never, ever, like... thought that was gonna ever get me in the door with anybody. Was like, hey, let me show them my privates. Like that's
right.
Like never. Like that's how who's telling people that that's how that works?
Yeah, that definitely happens every now and then. There is one person who routinely messages me, and I'm just gonna say it now because I have simps, and sometimes people have their own things that they're into, and this dude will pay me to be mean to him, and it's really funny.
I mean, that's you know what? More power to you though, because like that's like there's people that are I mean if it's not hurting you,
but at least like he doesn't just come in like he fully
like discussed it with you and like it was like a full-on business transaction and then okay, so that at least that makes sense because he was like getting it's consent is key here.
Exactly.
Like that's always been it. Consent is key. So like you consented, now then it's a perfectly fine transaction between adults. But like I don't, and like it's not even me like just being like trying to like white knight or whatever it is. It's so weird to me. Like I don't understand why guys think that's like a thing to do. Like I've never once thought that was like the way to break the ice with anybody.
No, and it's like, and not to be like stereotypical, but it's like 9 times out of 10 you don't really see feminine people doing that. In the same vein, like I'm not out here or like some random female fan is not messaging male wrestlers with like, I'm sure it's happening. Like obviously people are weird, but you don't really see us doing that.
Right. Like, yeah.
So it's definitely weird where I'm like, where do they get these ideas that this is going to work?
Yeah, I can honestly say I have never gotten a woman in my DMs sending me anything like that.
Right.
I beg.
At most you get the catfish ladies who are saying they want to
catfish ladies, right?
That they're gonna take care of you.
Oh yeah, I kind of figured that's where that was gonna go. I know like there's been some interesting ones, like I think Big Boofa, he was on another show and they asked him that, and he said that somebody just threw a hot dog that had like all the toppings on it at him while he was on like the second rope while he was like doing his entrance, and he knew the guy, and he's just like, why would you do that to me? He just threw a hot dog and like
not the waste of food.
But then but he knew the guy too. That's the messed up part. It's like, if I wouldn't do that to any of my friends that wrestle like that. Why would you not only waste food, but then like throw a messy hot dog at them? Like,
it wasn't a fan that I liked, but back in Florida, there was, I had somebody throw fruit punch soda at us while we were making our entrance. And, you know, the ring canvas and people's like entrance gear and stuff was like light colored or white. So it like stained everything.
That's bullshit.
Another crazy instance I've had. This is more along the lines of people forgetting that wrestling isn't real. And it was at one of the weekly shows I was doing, and I was hiding in the crowd by the bar, and nobody like realized that I was there. And I was supposed to be doing a run-in for my team during like a tag match or whatever. I go to run in, and some 60-year-old lady decides that she needs to try to grab my foot while I'm getting in the ring. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. What? How did this lady just get this close to me? So I do my spot. I get out, and now I'm like officially like managing like on the outside. I go to get in or like do something at the end, and she fully grabs me and turns me around and like shoves her chest in my face because of like how much taller she was than me, and is just like yelling at me and trying and fully like touching me and trying to stop me from getting in the ring to do my spot. So, like, I remember getting to the back, and more so like, I understand it's like some 56-year-old drunk lady, whatever. But I remember getting into the back, and I was so mad because this is like a show we have every week. So like there's people there. It's not like this was anything new. I was like, yo, not only once, but you let this woman touch me twice.
Right.
And you didn't think like as soon as she did something the first time that you should have been like on her like a hawk.
Right.
Yeah, but I have fully had people try to stop me from getting in the ring because they thought wrestling was a little too real in the moment.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah, the first time I ever went to 880, during Derek's match, this drunk guy came in and tried to grab him while he was over in the one corner, and Derek didn't realize what was going on and like tried to kick him, and then like a bunch of wrestlers chased him out of the building and down the street.
Amazing.
It was the best. I was like,
as he deserves.
I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And like, Derek's like trying to just continue with the match. Like he kicked at him, and then they moved away, so he couldn't get. And like he was still standing there on his phone, like acting like he was going to do something. I'm like, okay, this guy isn't part of the show. And then like here comes some guys down the steps, and he just took off. It was the funniest thing.
I've told this story on the air before, but it's been a while. I'm doing a show with Necro Butcher at the and the show in an expo center at part of like a horror movie convention. It's like right before Halloween.
Okay. And
Necro Butcher doing Necro Butcher thing. He brawling on the floor with the guy. He goes to the area where they got like a DJ kind of or whatever. Clams the guy into the stage by the DJ equipment. I've seen the tape. None of the equipment gets touched, but the guy who owns the equipment is like yelling and screaming at Necro Butcher. You're fucking up my equipment. You're fucking up my equipment.
Oh no.
So they continue doing their match. This guy finds the promoter of the wrestling and starts yelling at him that he owed several $100s for the DJ equipment or whatever. Necro finishing his match, sees the guy yelling at the promoter and go, "We didn't hit your damn equipment. Punches the dude in the face."
Oh.
And here comes the locker room going, "Nope, not doing this."
Oh, that checks out.
yeah. I can safely say that now that statute of limitation kind of gone out on it. But yeah, they got Necro out of the building before the cops got there. They were like, I don't know where he went.
Who knows?
I mean, he was living in the area at that time. It would not have been hard to find him if they really wanted to find him. But
yeah, sounds about right.
So, what are your goals for 2025? Do you want to wrestle more? Do you what all goals do you have set for yourself?
I mean, I feel like everybody will always have wrestling more than they did the year before, as like a goal. But like with my thing, like where I am in wrestling right now, my thing is mostly just like going to places that I haven't been to before, or like states that I haven't been to before. Like I try to get all over the place as much as I can and not kind of like follow the stereotypical path. Like just before I did Unsanctioned over the weekend, 2 weeks ago, I was wrestling in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Wasn't that
Like,
thing
that's
called
not
like the
really-
slut or whatever? It was
Yeah,
like, yeah, they
the
called it like
Battle
the
of Sluts.
sluts. The yeah, I was like, I was gonna bring it up, but I'm just like, how do I transition into talking about this weird show in Utah?
It's not weird. It's SLUT is an acronym for Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake,
Fair,
Utah.
but still,
It's
it
very
was
clever.
Like, it was clever, but I'm just like, that's.
Yeah, my
What is
best
going
friend
on?
my best friend actually lived in Salt Lake City. I'm like, yeah, I need one of those slut t-shirts. Give me one of those slut t-shirts. She won't do it. She can be gag gift all the time. Will not give me that shirt. Pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a battle of slut. Every kind of person was in it, so it's fine. I didn't win, but to be fair, a woman threw her panties in the ring after the match, and it was during when I was helping celebrate the person that won. It was during our interaction, so like, I may not have won the battle of slut, but I think they liked me enough.
How was that not the weirdest interaction? Like getting panties thrown in the ring?
It's cool. That's not weird. That's cool.
Something else that's never happened to me at a wrestling show ever.
It's cool. Because how many people can say that happened? Not a lot. It's cool.
No.
I mean, like, people I think are somewhat get used to be like, oh, we had dollar bills thrown at us after our match because of how good it was. I'm like, yeah, but did people think you were that good that they took off their panties? I don't think so. Were you even that good?
If you don't get a pair of panties for a hotel key.
Panties and bras, yeah, like a rock concert.
Yeah, exactly. It's entertainment. It's fine. Yeah, I just try to go wherever and get to different places that I haven't been to and wrestle people that I haven't been and kind of be wherever I can.
So
that's mainly what I try to do, and I just try to have fun. As long as I'm gonna be making money, I don't really care where it is as long as they're getting me there. Who cares? I'll go do it. I'm not trying to like get to like all the cool places just to be cool and say that I wrestled there. Like, I want to do stuff that people aren't normally doing on the indies, essentially, is what I like to say. But I think my main reoccurring goal is I want to go international. I have a passport. I really want to go to Japan. That is like my main thing. My tag partner is from there, so like obviously I want to go there. That is my big goal, is to go wrestle in Japan. Right and then on. Who knows? I might love it so much that I might never come back. So
yeah, I want to work in Japan one time. Can I go to Rivera get one of those jackets? I'm convinced Rivera Japanese for I'm a wrestler who's been to Japan.
Jared, we'll just get you one from Stash Pages, and then you can make up a story about how you got to go there.
That's not the same.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
No,
it'll be all right.
It's okay.
So, who do you want to wrestle this year? Then,
oh man.
Let's talk some names, because I do book on the side, like for Neo Pro Wrestling in Canton. So like who you interested in wrestling? Like maybe we can make something happen this year.
I always have really random answers. I remember one time Matt Griffin that runs Action Wrestling one time asked me who I wanted to wrestle, and I said Steve Blackman. So sometimes I just say really ridiculous answers. But I guess like more realistically, one match that I want to happen, because even though it was never announced, I have like the match graphic for it, but it never ended up happening, as I would love to wrestle Brooke Havoc. I've known her for like 2 or 3 years now at this point, and I would love to wrestle her. I got to wrestle Shaza McKenzie in a tag match last summer in LA, but I would love to have a singles match with her. I really want to wrestle. I know she's another one that's like me, where we kind of are doing everything that we can, and we're kind of all over the places. I would love to wrestle Veda Scott. Veda Scott, I've always thought Veda is like the coolest person ever. I absolutely love them. When I got into wrestling, I remember when they were teaming with Shaza at Shimmer, like right when Shaza was starting to do Shimmer. And I'm like, man, that would be cool.
I'm really shocked that Enjoy hasn't tried to put that together, because she's there for Enjoy all the time. And like, you're not far from Pittsburgh. Like,
I'm not. But also, I mean, the commissioner is my former tag partner, Ziggy Heim. So,
right.
You know,
yeah. I was going to say, like, and I know she's like, she's got some pull there. So like,
or the other thing, speaking of Ziggy, I would love if I could just have Ziggy be my manager. she can gaslight gatekeep girl boss for me, and I won't have to worry about anything.
And but if we're going to be at Enjoy in a couple weeks, maybe we can put the word into some people up down there.
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. You never know what can happen.
I do talk to Scotty like every couple days. So like
heck yeah.
I've been like I said, I've been like just reaching out to certain people and like, doing my little thing and coming together with things. I would like to see you face like in our area. She's faced everybody's Jocelyn Navarro.
I love Jocelyn. Jocelyn's great.
I love her to death. I think she could have a good match with anybody. So I'd like to see that. Right now, Neo Pro's women's champion is Jessica Havoc. So like,
fun fact, my first official match ever was a squash match with Jessica Havoc.
Really?
Yes.
25 seconds.
It was like in 2015.
I've actually got
Queens of Combat in North Carolina.
Yep, I've actually got it right in front of me here. June 13, 2015.
Good Lord.
At the Mid-Atlantic Sportatorium in Gibsonville, North Carolina.
I got squashed. That was my first official match because I technically wasn't wrestling yet, and they needed to make her look like a big scary heel. So I had come there with some other people that were on the show, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to get beat up for a couple minutes?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah,
she just faced Zoe Sky, and it's like they've wrestled each other so many times, so like they could do it blindfolded, and it was really good. Even though they've wrestled like 90 times at this point, it's still always fun to watch.
Yeah,
but
we're still looking for a challenger for Mikey Montgomery for the IWGI title too. So
this is true.
You want me to find my former tag partner's boyfriend? You really want to put Ziggy in that position and make her choose between us?
I mean, it's possible. It could happen at Enjoy. Like Taco Mania is coming up.
Instead, because I know you guys have good old Sid and his crew up there. Make me and Mikey beat them up.
That might be possible too.
I could do that.
Is fair.
Especially if Shelby's going to be injured, going to be out longer than we think. They might need a third to counteract that group.
This is true.
I can do it. I have the receipts as to why I need to beat up backs. I can do it.
Well, they if anybody deserves to get beat up, it's backs. So I mean, they give me a reason every time I have to deal with them. So
yeah, I'm
always open to like wrestling anybody. Another person that I want to wrestle is my birthday twin, Anthony Green.
Okay.
I would love to do that. We've talked about it before because he swears up and down that I will murder him with the spirit gun. So we have to see if that's actually going to happen or not.
We should do it just to do it anyway. But Anthony Green's awesome. I would love to work with him some more. Like I got to interact with him a little bit when he was at AIW, and I really like him. I would like to do something with him too. So these are all options. I mean,
like I said, I will wrestle anybody. It doesn't matter, man, woman, child, cat, dog, dragon. I will do it all.
Well, usually whatever it is, Jared has to be the referee. So you need to accidentally beat up the referee every time. Like that's everybody. Like I threatened him with Gary J chopping him.
Oh no.
And he was very afraid that was going to happen like for the longest time. And then
as you should be.
I wasn't really going to make him take a chop because I offered to take chops. I was like, because Mikey I knew was going to get chopped up. And I was like, if you're going to do them, I was like, I will take them as well, just to be fair. Because like, I know he's notorious for being a hard chopper. Luckily, he didn't have to chop me. So I was kind of happy about that.
I was kind of happy about that. That's fair.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not even just the fact that it's Gary J. Chop cock. If you've never taken one, they cock.
Oh no, I've never taken one, but I have seen them firsthand.
I don't know. I like chops. They hurt, but at the same time, it's like it gets me amped up. Then I want to I want to chop as well. Like a chop battle with somebody. Like I like doing that. I don't know. I'm weird. My like when I was getting chopped in wrestling training, it was like it just amped me up more. Like for what we were doing. So it didn't bother me. Yeah,
the adrenaline's there.
Like my chest looked like hamburger meat after, but I didn't care. I was like, "This is fucking awesome! Like this is
cool.
Yeah, this is the coolest shit ever." And I had Bobby Beverly chopping me, so he's fucking ridiculous. Well, I think that ties up about everything. Is there anything you'd like to promote?
Because we talked about the stream, obviously I will talk about my stream, twitch.tv/Aspyn the Mermaid. I'm Aspyn the Mermaid on literally everything. I try to make it as easy as possible. I do have a big cartel as well that has some t-shirts and things on there in case anybody is ever interested. But yeah, that's the agenda. That is my social media. Nothing too crazy. And then you can follow me and be that simp like everybody else. It's great.
JHawk, what do you got?
You follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at JHawk. I am on Blue Sky as well. Instagram when I'm on it, which is rare, is JHawk1539. And I'm doing Reaction Pro Wrestling this coming Saturday at the Ohio Urban Renaissance Center in Youngstown, Ohio. 6 o'clock the scheduled bell time. Dior Castro defending the RIPW title against Ray Stewart in an I Quit match in the main event of that show. Come check that out.
Well, since J Gold isn't here to do the ending stuff, I'm just gonna say check out Main Event. They have a bunch of like really cool like articles, all that kind of stuff. There are partners. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, I really don't feel like talking about anything else. There's like probably a whole list of people we're supposed to talk about, like that sponsor us and stuff. But it's
you just plug that in later.
Yeah. We'll just cut to like J Gold randomly talking about it.
There you go.
And then the video version won't have any of that, so it'll be whatever. So, all right. Until next time, watch more indie wrestling.
Later.
Bye.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at The Indie Wrestling Guide. And on X or Twitter at IWGuide1.